Power begins where emotion dies. Most men aren't prisoners of systems, women, or enemies. They're prisoners of themselves. They flinch, they rage, they react, and in that instant, they lose control. They surrender their crown to the chaos around them. But not you. You're here to master the highest form of discipline, emotional control. You will learn to never react, only respond, to turn your emotions into a weapon, cold, precise, and deadly. This isn't about denying your humanity. It's about refining it into power. Because the calm man is the most terrifying force alive. When you move with quiet calculation, you become untouchable. Comment below, "I am my own weapon." Say it, write it, remember it, because today you stop being emotional and start becoming dangerous. Number 1, the power of silence and restraint. Silence is the native language of strength. The weak fill the world with noise, excuses, and explanations, desperate for validation. The powerful understand that silence is power. When you stay quiet, you own interpretation. You let others project their fears, desires, and insecurities onto your stillness. That is psychological warfare, the Machiavellian way. Every reaction exposes you. Every restraint conceals you. The man who doesn't rush to respond terrifies everyone because he cannot be read or predicted. In a world that worships attention seekers, your restraint becomes rebellion. People fear what they cannot define. And silence makes you undefined, a mystery no one can solve. When you master silence, you gain leverage in every interaction. Speak only when your words are strategy, never emotion. That is how kings speak. That is how predators hunt. Remember this, your silence is not weakness. It's control disguised as calm. Comment below, "My silence speaks louder than emotion." Let them wonder what's on your mind while you're already 3 moves ahead. Your power begins the moment you choose restraint over reaction. The quiet man always wins because the loud man has already exposed himself. Silence doesn't beg to be heard. It commands respect. Number 2, mastering the emotional battlefield. The mind is a war zone, and emotions are landmines designed to destroy you from within. Most men walk through life stepping on their own traps. Anger, jealousy, fear, detonating every time someone presses the right button. That's not power. That's slavery. To dominate the emotional battlefield, you must become the one who plants the traps, not the one who triggers them. Control begins with awareness. Every emotion has a purpose, but not every emotion deserves expression. The Machiavellian man studies his emotions like a scientist, not a victim. He observes his anger, analyzes his fear, measures his desire, and then uses them strategically. You must learn to pause before you act, breathe before you speak, and think before you move. That pause is your fortress. The emotional man reacts, the intelligent man calculates, the powerful man waits. Understand this. The world manipulates emotions because they're predictable. Politicians, lovers, and enemies all play the same game: provoke, observe, exploit. But when you refuse to react, their power dissolves. You become unreadable, unshakable. That is true dominance, not through aggression, but through composure. You win not by shouting, but by standing still while others collapse under their own volatility. Emotions can't be killed, but they can be trained. You make them your soldiers, not your masters. You channel your anger into focus, your pain into persistence, your envy into ambition. The man who rules his emotions rules his destiny. So when chaos surrounds you, remain still. When insulted, smile. When tested, calculate. Because the one who controls his emotional temperature controls the temperature of every room he enters. Comment below, "My emotions serve me, not control me." Say it with conviction. Every repetition reprograms your mind deeper into strength. Remember, emotional control isn't suppression, it's strategy. The world bows to those who never flinch. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be obeyed. Number 3, the calculated mind. Power doesn't belong to the strongest, it belongs to the most strategic. The man who stays calm while others drown in emotion becomes the architect of reality. Calculation is the Machiavellian's sharpest blade. It separates those who react to life from those who design it. Every word, every move, every silence must serve a purpose. You are no longer permitted to act on impulse. You are to study patterns, read behaviors, and predict reactions. When you think with strategy, chaos becomes predictable and people become transparent. The world turns into a chessboard and you become the player who never blinks. Calculation doesn't mean hesitation. It means precision. You strike when the moment serves you, not when emotion demands it. Patience is not weakness, it's preparation. The masses rush because they crave relief. The elite move slow because they crave results. A calculated man studies people not to mimic them, but to manipulate the rhythm of interaction. He mirrors when necessary, contradicts when strategic, and withdraws when it creates tension. Every gesture is information. Every reaction is leverage. Most men expose their hand in the first 5 minutes of conversation. The calculated man exposes nothing. He lets others unravel themselves. You must learn to detach emotionally from outcomes. Desire clouds judgment. Fear distorts logic. Detachment sharpens precision. When emotion is removed, truth becomes visible. And truth always gives you the upper hand. The calculating man sees 5 steps ahead and feels nothing about it. He simply moves forward, relentless and unshaken. This is the cold psychology of the strategist. Comment below. My mind is my weapon. Let the world hear it, echo it. Because when your mind learns to calculate, you no longer chase control. You become control itself. The calculated man never chases victory. He designs it, slowly, silently, ruthlessly. In every room, he's already won before anyone realizes the game has even begun. Number 4, detachment, the armor of power. Detachment is the shield of kings. It is the invisible armor that protects you from manipulation, chaos, and betrayal. Most men collapse because they cling too tightly to people, to validation, to results. Attachment blinds you. It makes you predictable. When you care too much about how things unfold, you hand the world a map to your emotions. Detachment isn't apathy. It's clarity. It's the ability to see the battlefield without the fog. You act with precision because your judgment is no longer clouded by hope or fear. The Machiavellian mind understands that caring is currency, and the one who cares less always commands the one who cares more. This isn't cruelty, it's efficiency. Power demands emotional distance. You cannot lead, negotiate, or dominate while drowning in sentiment. You must rise above it, observing, not reacting. Detachment is the art of watching without being moved. When someone provokes you, you don't flare up. You read their intent. When a deal fails, you don't panic. You extract the lesson. When someone leaves, you don't chase. You adapt your strategy. This calm indifference terrifies emotional people because they cannot control what they cannot influence. The detached man is dangerous because he is free. You can't blackmail a man detached from approval. You can't threaten a man detached from loss. He moves like smoke, untouchable, unbothered, unstoppable. Train yourself to treat emotion as data, not identity. When something triggers you, dissect it. Ask, why does this bother me? Then strip away the ego from your answer. Detachment gives you that power to feel everything yet be owned by nothing. Understand this. Emotional detachment isn't the absence of passion. It's the discipline to direct passion with accuracy. It's the difference between fire that destroys and fire that forges. Choose to forge. Choose to channel your energy toward what serves your long-term purpose, not your temporary feelings. Comment below. I feel everything, but nothing controls me. Let that truth burn deep into your subconscious. Because once you master detachment, betrayal, chaos, and manipulation stop hurting you, they start serving you. That's when you stop playing the game and start owning it. Number 5. Emotional alchemy, turning pain into power. Pain is the raw material of transformation, but only the rare few know how to refine it. The weak drown in pain, the average numb it. The Machiavellian mind. He wields it. Pain is not your enemy, it's your forge. Every betrayal, every failure, every humiliation is data etched into your mind. You're meant to extract wisdom, not wounds. Emotional alchemy is the process of transforming suffering into strength, despair into drive, rejection into redirection. The world worships comfort, but comfort breeds weakness, and weakness kills ambition. To master emotional alchemy, stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "How can I weaponize this?" That question separates rulers from the ruled. Pain is information. It exposes where you're fragile, where your ego bleeds, where your identity still depends on approval. The Machiavellian man doesn't run from pain. He studies it with cold precision. He lets it burn away illusion until only truth remains. Your emotions are not obstacles, they are instruments. Anger can be fuel. Sadness can be focus. Betrayal can be liberation. When you redirect emotion into strategy, you become unstoppable. Emotional alchemy demands that you stop reacting to pain and start refining it, like a craftsman shaping steel. When life hits you, don't flinch. Observe, don't resist, adapt, don't pity yourself, plan. Every hardship is a test of emotional discipline. Those who react impulsively destroy themselves. Those who respond intelligently rise sharper, colder, and more strategic. The man who turns pain into power becomes indestructible because nothing external can penetrate his core. He has built himself from the stones others threw at him. This is dark psychology in its purest form, transforming adversity into superiority while others break under emotion. You crystallize into precision. Comment below. My pain is my power. Write it like an oath, because once you accept pain as your teacher, nothing can defeat you. Not loss, not failure, not betrayal. You become the alchemist of your fate, the commander of your emotions, the master of your mind. Power isn't found in avoiding suffering. It's found in sculpting it into strength. Every time you endure and evolve, you become less human, more force. Remember, steel is born in fire. Let your pain burn you into something unbreakable. Number 6, the psychology of cold power. Cold power is domination without volume, influence without pressure, destruction of illusion without emotion. It is silent, unnerving authority that comes not from strength or validation, but from total self-command. The man of cold power does not react. He observes, calculates, and dictates the terms of engagement. His calmness is not weakness, it's control. His silence is not hesitation, it's calculation. He doesn't chase, he attracts. He doesn't argue, he defines reality. This is the psychology of those who rule, not by fear, but by precision. The world confuses coldness with cruelty, but in truth, coldness is clarity. When emotion is stripped away from action, you see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. That vision gives you the edge. Most people drown in emotional noise. They need to feel powerful just to act powerful. But cold power doesn't need to feel, it simply exists. The Machiavellian mind knows that control is perception. People respect only what they can't predict or manipulate. When you master stillness, your presence becomes magnetic, your words heavier, your gaze commanding. Every movement becomes deliberate, every silence calculated. That is true psychological dominance, making others question themselves while you remain unshaken. Cold power never reacts to provocation. It observes, archives, and turns it into leverage later. You don't let anger steer you, you convert it into strategy. You don't let praise inflate you, you dissect the motive behind it. Learn to watch people like a chessboard. Everyone is playing a role. Some crave validation, others crave control, most crave distraction. Your task is to remain detached, to play your part with awareness, not attachment. The emotional man is transparent. The cold man is a mystery. People can't decide if you're ally or adversary, and that uncertainty becomes your weapon. This isn't about being heartless. It's about being disciplined enough to separate emotion from execution. When you make decisions unclouded by feeling, you become dangerous because no one can exploit your motives. You begin to see manipulation in real time, flattery, guilt, urgency, pity, and you stay unmoved. That is the essence of cold power, walking through emotional traps untouched. You don't fight emotion with emotion. You neutralize it with logic and distance. You let others think they've won while you quietly shape the outcome. Cold power thrives in patience, the ability to wait without anxiety. The powerful man knows that timing often outweighs action. He knows when to appear, when to disappear, when to strike, and when to observe. He never reveals plans, only results. He doesn't beg for loyalty. He earns it through presence. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. Every move must project calm certainty, not reactive noise. When people sense your emotional stability, they begin to orbit around you. Stability is rare. Predictability is power. Cold power is the final form of control, the union of stoicism and strategy. You remain unmoved by chaos, untouched by praise, unfazed by opposition, grounded, deliberate, unreadable. The world tries to provoke emotion to control your focus. But once you stop responding to noise, noise stops owning you. Remember, indifference is the ultimate weapon. When you can face chaos and remain composed, you've already conquered it. The cold man doesn't compete. He observes, adapts, and silently takes over. He doesn't need to be seen. His results make him undeniable. Comment below. My calm is my control. Let that truth define you, because the calm man commands the storm. People fear what they can't emotionally sway, and that is your advantage. Cold power isn't about aggression. It's about presence, posture, and poise. It's the discipline to let others expose their weakness while you maintain your strength. You don't shout. You don't beg. You don't explain. You act, and your silence speaks louder than emotion ever could. Master cold power, and you'll never need to ask for respect. Your stillness will demand it. Number 7, the Machiavellian command, control without force. True control is never achieved through brute strength. It's born from invisible influence, subtle manipulation, and psychological precision. The Machiavellian command is the ability to shape outcomes without revealing your hand. It's the art of steering emotion, decision, and loyalty while appearing neutral. This is control without force, and it begins in the mind. Most men seek obedience through fear or authority. But fear fades, and authority can be challenged. Influence, however, true influence, seeps into the subconscious and directs behavior from within. The Machiavellian man doesn't demand, he engineers. He knows people obey not the loudest, but the one who speaks to their desires. He studies what drives them, validation, greed, love, recognition, and turns those drives into tools. To master others, you must master motives. To control someone, you don't oppose their nature, you guide it. You make them believe your will is their choice. That is ultimate control, when obedience feels like freedom. The Machiavellian command requires patience, awareness, and detachment. You must read what is unsaid. The twitch in the eye, the pause before a lie, the flicker of insecurity. Every word spoken is a window into the mind. And when you can read minds, you can lead them without resistance. The key is to conceal your intent. People resist control, but crave understanding. So understand them deeply, and they will follow you willingly. Influence begins with perception. People will see in you what you project. Project certainty, and they'll trust your direction. Project mystery, and they'll seek your approval. If you project calm authority, people will instinctively yield. That's dark psychology, control through energy, not words. A Machiavellian doesn't argue, he defines the frame. He doesn't wrestle for control. He constructs the conditions so that control becomes inevitable. When you understand what people crave, you pull the strings. A loyal friend can be steered by gratitude. An ambitious rival can be maneuvered by ego. An insecure enemy can be crushed by silence. Control is never linear, it's emotional architecture. You must master when to reward, when to retreat, when to vanish. Your absence, when timed with precision, can command more power than your presence. This is how kings move, not by shouting, but by aligning incentives. People will betray their morals if you make them think they're achieving their desires. Remember, manipulation isn't always evil. Sometimes it's survival. Civilization itself is built on the manipulation of chaos into order. To control without force, never let anyone see you lose your calm. The second you react emotionally, your center is exposed. Always remain composed, observant, and analytical. When someone tries to provoke you, don't react. Study them. Their reaction becomes a roadmap to their weaknesses. Because once you know what ignites a person, you own their strings. Comment below. I control by staying calm. Let that be your creed. Because control without composure is illusion. The Machiavellian command is cold, still, and precise. You don't prove dominance. You radiate it. Every word, every look, every silence becomes part of your design. Power doesn't announce itself, it's felt. The real leader isn't the loudest. He's the one whose influence remains when he's gone. When you enter a room, never chase attention. Make it chase you. When you speak, speak slowly. When you move, move deliberately. When you decide, decide with certainty. These are the markers of command. The man who stays composed while others burn decides the fate of the fire. Influence the emotions of others, but never let them touch yours. This is control without force, the quiet strength that bends the world without ever seeming to touch it. Number 8. The shadow of influence. The power of perception. Perception is the currency of power, and those who control it control reality. The Machiavellian man knows truth doesn't matter if people believe something else. Power isn't about what's real, it's about what's believed to be real. You could be wise, strong, and disciplined, but if the world sees weakness, it will treat you as such. Yet if you project calm, control, and confidence, even in uncertainty, the world bows to that illusion. Humans don't respond to logic, they respond to signals. Every tone, glance, and gesture either amplifies or weakens your dominance. The art of perception lies in managing impressions intentionally, not by accident. Most men are too exposed, revealing their emotions, fears, and ambitions, thinking authenticity earns respect. But authenticity without restraint is self-destruction. You must choose which parts of yourself the world deserves to see and what remains behind the mask. A Machiavellian doesn't fake, he curates. That's not deception, it's defense. Transparency invites danger, and vulnerability is leverage in the wrong hands. The man who understands perception plays life like theater. Every room becomes his stage, every person his audience, every movement a calculated act. When you master your image, you control how others interpret your words, your silence, and your absence. You become a mystery. And mystery commands respect. People fear what they can't predict and trust what they can't fully grasp. Appear confident but never desperate, intelligent but never arrogant, detached but never lifeless. Balance is your armor. Influence is not about forcing thoughts. It's about crafting conditions where people choose your truth on their own. The shadow of influence lingers quietly, long after you've left. That's how real power operates. Silently, strategically, relentlessly. Remember, reputation is worth more than truth. Guard it, shape it, weaponize it. When you walk, move with purpose. When you speak, let every word carry gravity. When you listen, make others feel seen. When you smile, let it be rare. Rarity increases worth. Never let anyone predict your next move. Predictability kills mystique. Even kindness should feel intentional, never impulsive. The world watches more than it listens, and in that observation, they define your value. Project inevitability, that unshakable sense that no matter what happens, you stay composed, untouched, in command. People trust the image of strength more than strength itself. Your mission is to embody that illusion until it becomes indistinguishable from truth. Comment below, I am the perception they fear. Let that embed in your mind. Because when perception bends around you, reality follows. The man who controls how others see him controls how they act, how they think, and how they respond. That is psychological dominance in its purest form, shaping emotion through suggestion, guiding thought without demand, steering fate without force. The shadow of influence doesn't scream, it whispers. It moves unseen, yet it's always felt. Silent but heavy. And when you master that, you stop chasing power. Power starts chasing you. Number 9, the discipline of control, the war within. The greatest battle isn't fought against others, it's waged inside your own mind. Emotional control isn't about suppression, it's about command. Your emotions are soldiers. They should serve your will, not sabotage it. Every man who seeks power must first conquer himself. The undisciplined man is his own downfall. His impulses betray him before his enemies ever get the chance. Discipline separates chaos from command, noise from precision. You must train your mind to obey under pressure. When emotions rise, you remain unshaken. When temptation whispers, you stay deaf. You stand still, anchored in logic, unbothered by distraction. The Machiavellian mind knows discipline is freedom, the freedom to act with intent instead of instinct. Each moment you resist impulse, you sharpen your control. Each time you delay gratification, you harden your will. The world is filled with men enslaved by feelings, chasing lust, greed, and validation. They live reactively, like puppets to their emotions. But you, the disciplined one, cut the strings and move with design. You don't crave comfort, you crave control. You rise early, not because you must, but because you command yourself to. You train your body because the body follows the orders of the mind. You learn to endure quietly, because real strength doesn't speak, it endures. Discipline isn't punishment, it's power. When you command yourself, no one else can. The Machiavellian man treats emotions as instruments, useful when played, silent when not. He doesn't feel anger, he uses it. He doesn't fear, he prepares. He doesn't seek approval, he extracts growth from rejection. Discipline creates distance from chaos. You stop taking things personally because you understand. Emotional reactions are traps. The disciplined man is unreadable. His tone steady, his movements minimal, his gaze calculating. You can't provoke him, you can't manipulate him. You can't destroy him because he's already destroyed his weaker self. The war within never ends, but each victory expands your dominion. Self-control isn't an act, it's an identity. It's the line dividing leaders from followers, predators from prey, kings from jesters. Comment below, I conquer myself daily. That is mastery. The enemy outside only wins when the enemy inside is undisciplined. You don't need to dominate the world. You need to master your reactions, and the world will fall in line. The man who commands emotion becomes a fortress, silent, respected, untouchable. His calm silences the loud. His patience dismantles the reckless. His stillness outlasts the arrogant. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's cold, consistent, absolute. But it's the foundation of power that never fades. Control your urges, direct your emotions, refine your reactions, and you will reign where others kneel. Number 10, the untouchable mind, ascending beyond emotion. To be untouchable, you must rise above emotion, not by avoiding it, but by mastering it so completely that it no longer owns you. The untouchable mind is the final form of the Machiavellian spirit, calm in chaos, unbroken in betrayal, clear amid destruction. Life will always test you, through manipulation, temptation, loss, and deceit. But your response defines your dominance. The man who reacts gives away power. The man who responds controls the field. To be untouchable is to realize nothing external belongs to you. Not money, not love, not reputation. Only your inner state is yours. Guard it like a kingdom. Every insult, every failure, every storm is a lesson in composure. You stop seeking validation and revenge and start moving like a strategist. Your mind becomes your empire, every thought a loyal soldier to your will. The untouchable man doesn't prove power. He embodies it, quiet, precise, unmoved. He walks like a ghost of control, untouched by the chaos of lesser men. To reach this level, abandon the need to be liked or understood. Become comfortable being misunderstood, even feared, because greatness cannot coexist with comfort. True power isolates, and in that solitude you find clarity. You see people not as foes or friends, but as pieces of a grander plan. You stop chasing outcomes, you attract alignment. You stop searching for peace, you become it. Comment below, I am untouchable. Let it be your declaration of psychological sovereignty. Because when you see emotions as passing storms, you stop building homes inside them, and instead build fortresses above them. The untouchable mind is forged in pain, sharpened by discipline, sustained by purpose. Every trial makes you colder, sharper, calmer, until nothing breaks your stillness. You become the eye of the storm, silent, centered, unstoppable. And when the world realizes it can't move you, it will have no choice but to respect you. Remember, never react, respond. Never chase, attract. Never explain, demonstrate. You are now Machiavellian, and therefore you are free. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because power belongs to those who stay in control.